What's the meaning of a ceasefire? Because we have Omar Abdullah already tweeting, this is no ceasefire. The air defense units in the middle of Srinagar just opened up. We're seeing streaks of red coming in from the LOC, from Nagrota, we are told Akhnoor. We are also hearing from Jammu where there is a blackout. Srinagar, there are sirens. We are also hearing Barmer and Jaisalmer have seen some drones that have been coming in. Drones have been intercepted in Udhampur, in Srinagar. Barmer, Jaisalmer, Faridkot, Pathankot, Bhatinda, these are the blackout areas. Just what does this mean to all of us? Brahma Chelani, how do you see this ceasefire? Pakistan, a rogue state, can we ever go on the word that they've given us?
Well, the first question that arises is that why did India agree to a ceasefire when India had the upper hand militarily? Pakistan's air defenses proved to be much weaker than Pakistan had expected. India managed to degrade Pakistan's air defenses and damage or inflict heavy destruction on several of its key military bases. The Indian military was on the march, just as in 1948. Remember, India took the Jammu and Kashmir issue to the UN and agreed to a ceasefire when the Indian army was marching towards victory. Today again, when Operation Sindoor was expected to be taken to its logical conclusion, after just 3 days, we decided to terminate it by agreeing to a US brokered ceasefire. And that raises a number of questions. First, as the stronger side, India could have escalated or de-escalated the situation to its advantage. In other words, India was in a position to control the escalation ladder. It is India that initiated the military strikes. If it wanted to de-escalate, India should have taken advantage of its degradation of Pakistan's air defenses to inflict some heavy blows on the Pak military. We should have left the Pak military humiliated. This military has oppressed its own people. A humiliated Pak military would have faced the wrath of the Pakistani people. This Operation Sindoor was clear from day one that this had become a test of rival political wills. And the side with stronger political will would prevail. Unfortunately, we have lived up to Pakistan's image of being a weak-willed nation. That's the reason for 4 decades we allowed Pakistan to bleed us, though we are much stronger militarily, economically. For 4 decades, the stronger, larger India allowed a smaller, weaker Pakistan to wage with impunity a campaign, a war of 1,000 cuts. And Operation Sindoor, I mentioned to you on one of your earlier shows, represented a paradigm shift in India's strategic posture. But 3 days later, I have been left with only questions as to why did India squander its military advantage when the international geopolitical environment was very favorable to India. The US had given India open space to carry out strikes. There was no criticism by the US or any other major power other than China, which is Pakistan's ally. Contrast that with when India conducted Blackout airstrike or when India conducted the surgical strikes in 2016, the US criticized India. But this time, the geopolitical environment was to India's advantage. Plus, there was a national consensus in India, a consensus that wanted India to wreak vengeance, to teach Pakistan a lesson. Yet, we didn't take Operation Sindoor to its logical conclusion. Operation Sindoor represented powerful symbolism. It underscored that Indian women were avenging the murder of 26 husbands. History will not look at this termination of Operation Sindoor too kindly.
Absolutely, completely agree with you, because there are reports in Udhampur, there have been drones that have been spotted. We are hearing there is a blackout in Bhuj as well. Just a little while ago in Bhuj, the blackout had been revoked. Now it's back. Srinagar, we are seeing what was happening. We also understand Udhampur, where this is happening, Nagrota, where drones have been seen. I want to ask you, Anand Ranganathan, just what's going on? Did we fall into the trap of Pakistan? And number two, yes, there were gains. We were in a position of strength as far as our military prowess was concerned. But have we squandered it away, as the question many are asking tonight?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, Pakistan violating the ceasefire live on television does not take away from the fact that we entered into a ceasefire agreement with it. Why did we do so? Knowing that a leopard never changes its spots is what I think is worthy of discussion. Navika, not having seen or read the ceasefire agreement, of course, if at all such a document exists right now, I feel like Guido in Fellini's 8½, who said, I have nothing to say, but I'll say it anyway. Be that as it may, let me elucidate my views, of course, as a layman, on India reaching this agreement. First, it needs to be underlined that there are definite tangible gains that we have got from the Operation Sindoor. Number one, we have called out, possibly once and for all, Pakistan's nuclear bluff by targeting with precision and at will deep into mainland Pakistan, and not one but a dozen locations at their terror hubs, airfields, ammo dumps, military locations. Their nuclear bluff lies crunched up and in the nearest trash can, and they know it. Number two, we have ascertained the robustness of our offense and, more crucially, our defense capabilities. The stupendous success of the ADS, the pinpoint accuracy of our missile strikes deep into Pakistan while our fighters not entering their airspace is an incredible assurance to the Indians. Three, we have now lassoed the Indus Water Treaty into the tightest possible leash on the terror state of Pakistan with a tap-off, tap-on decision we will take depending upon their behavior. To me, this is the biggest gain. And four, the new doctrine that we have formalized, that from now on, every act of terror will be seen as an act of war, is again a great plus. Pakistan now knows that every Pahalgam or Pulwama or 26/11 like attack will be met with an Operation Sindoor like response. So I think these are definite tangible gains, and I must say that for these, the Modi government and our armed forces must be congratulated. Remember, we are now in a situation that is far removed from the time when we didn't bomb terror hubs in the wake of 26/11 despite pleadings of our Air Force. We were giving concessions to Pakistan even on Baluchistan. We continue to have Pakistan as the most favored nation. We continue to suffer through the Indus Water Treaty. That said, even with these tangible gains, why does it feel that we are making a pact with the devil? Why does it feel that we are entering into a ceasefire agreement that America won't have with the terror state? Here's the thing, Navika. Pakistan is never going to renounce its preamble to destroy India through terrorism. So I ask, have we met the objectives of Operation Sindoor? Have we met all the promises that were made by PM Modi in the wake of Pahalgam? Have the terrorists who perpetrated Pahalgam been killed or handed over to us? Have we eradicated terrorism from the root up as he promised? Only he can answer that. Perhaps he sees Operation Sindoor as the first step, which, given the aforementioned gains, is acceptable. But then, would these tangible gains be included in any agreement that we will have with Pakistan? Pakistan is never going to accept to co-sign any treaty that contains these gains. So we must have a third party like America to accept and underline these tangibles, at least two of them, that Indus Water Treaty will remain in abeyance till such time it is redrawn, and that every act of terror on India will be seen as act of war. Finally, Navika, 30 seconds. I am disappointed by the optics of the entire unfolding. The fact that we did not announce the ceasefire ourselves first up and left it to America to do so. How on earth did we not foresee that Trump would jump the gun? We and Pakistan, I'm afraid, come across as schoolboys in front of the principal who has negotiated truth. So to sum up, there are definite gains, doubtless, but I see Operation Sindoor as the journey of 1,000 miles beginning with the first step.